Hello and welcome to That's a Wrap. My name is Anthony Gentry, and joining me today is...
Austin Jameson, hello. It's a pleasure to be
Hello,
here.
hello. We have a packed episode for you today.
We do.
We are reviewing Evil Dead Rise. We have 5 trailers to talk about. If you want, we have some CinemaCon news we could talk about too, with Hugh Grant being an Oompa Loompa.
Yes, of
and
course.
Kraven the Hunter being rated R, hardcore.
There's another thing that we have to talk about today, correct?
Yes.
Another episode of
Ted Lasso and Barry. I'm
And
gonna
Barry.
go with Barry first because
Okay.
that's fresh on the mind. That
Go
was
for it.
this past Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
As you all know, I believe the 2 best shows on TV right now is every TV show I watch. But
Yeah.
but specifically Barry and Ted Lasso. Barry, this is the last season. Every episode is directed by Bill Hader. Started episode 3, so excited. We start out with a cameo that was so unexpected, but I loved so much. And then also some kind of weak writing, I will say. It didn't start fully strong for me. It felt like especially the comedic writing. It felt like it was going back to season 1, where it wasn't bad, but we had evolved so much past that I was like, oh, I wonder why they're doing that. And then it keeps going, and it just gets back into the groove, and it's all good. It's another great episode. Season 3 leaned heavily into the drama, while like having some comedic bits. But so far, this season is also very comedic, along with the very dark and deep tones with it. And there's another cameo at the end that is kind of hysterical in the most bleak way. But it's just such a good show, and all the characters are so just fun to watch. I love going to each and every one of them. There's not like one subplot where I'm ever like, can we just move past this, because they're all great. NoHo Hank is one of the standouts of the show, and he's finally getting his due as an actor. He's like one part of the cartel, or not
Gotcha.
cartel, but the mob basically. And he was kind of the comedic relief, but now he's demanding to be taken more seriously. And I kind of like that. It's a really great
Fair
show.
enough.
Go check it out. Let's move on to Ted Lasso. And this episode was, I believe, episode 5 or 6. We're at the halfway point. And this episode, like the other 2 seasons, is going out of the team's comfort zone. Going off the pitch and into a different city, different area. And I was wondering how they were going to do this now, because in past seasons, they'd have maybe 2-3 story arcs. In this episode, I counted, there were 6 stories going all at once. And I was wondering, how are they going to be able to juggle all of this and still have each one satisfactory? And while there were like 1 or 2 stories that didn't feel as fleshed out as the others, it was still fine. I loved this episode. It's, I believe, the longest episode. They're all in Argentina for a night out. Yeah. And after like a kind of devastating loss. And it's kind of them just getting back into the groove of things. And like I said last week, this show is so character focused, and it's just so good. You think a character is going to act one way, not because of who they are, but because of sitcom writing, and you get worried about that, but then they flip the script and they're like, no, I'm gonna do this actually rational thing and be very emotionally stable about it. And I'm like, yes, that is so good. There's such a funny bit about riding a bike that is very funny. It comes out of nowhere. This show is just so good. I love it to pieces. Go watch these 2 shows. They're so great. 2 SNL alums doing their
That
thing.
is true, yeah. I have not watched these, but I really do want to. It's on my list. Yeah, it's on the list.
Yeah, it's on the list.
I'll get to it.
I think for you, start with Barry, because I feel like might be more your speed, and you have HBO. So
fair enough. Yeah. So with those out of the way, what do we got to talk about?
we have a few trailers to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
First up, it's a not sequel to your favorite movie,
Mm-hmm.
but spiritually,
Oh, okay. No,
because it has the exact same cast.
and that is
American-Born Chinese, a
yes.
TV series on Disney Plus based on the book of the same name.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to do with Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Correct.
But it just has 3 of the main characters from that in this show. And it looks like it's following a high schooler who, basically Percy Jackson, Harry Potter,
it's that
all
kinda
those other
gist.
like teen movies where it's this normal teen struggling with school, finds out that he's gonna be in like extraordinary circumstances,
right.
and he has to save the world.
Mm-hmm.
Austin, what did you think of this trailer?
I meant to get the name of the person before this, and I don't, so I apologize for that. But there's somebody on either TikTok or Instagram, so they make content on there where they do parodies of early 2000s Disney Channel original movies. This is one of those. Like, it has every single moment. It is literally, it's the Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Percy Jackson, like, motor system, where kid gets bullied, but then he has superpowers, and it's like, we gotta test him out. And it's just a bunch of, like, it hits every single beat of just, like, I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, well, it's a TV show.
Still, I don't, that's too long for me then. Michelle Yeoh and Ke Huy Quan are great, but them being in this is like definitely just capitalizing off of Everything Everywhere All at Once. And if they were both miraculously casted at the same time before that movie came out and found its success, then I'm wrong.
I believe it was.
Okay, then good for
Stay
them
with
who
Stephanie
got
Sue.
those. Like, for real, I feel like there had to be a party like during shooting Everything Everywhere All at Once one day, and somebody was like, you know that book, and everybody was like, yeah, we know that book, and it's like, let's do a show about that.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So with this complaint of you've seen this before,
Yeah.
with the new Percy Jackson show, do you feel that you will have that same complaint, or
No,
because it is
I
like
love
a
Percy Jackson.
remake? Okay.
Let me explain that. Because if you're a fan of the thing already, then you're probably going to enjoy it and want to watch it.
Exactly.
Especially with Percy Jackson, that already has a jaded history in terms of cinematography with it.
What do you mean?
Logan Lerman, we'd love to have you on the show. He did a great job. Percy Jackson's a whole another.
He was just 10 years older than he should have been.
Yeah, and that's how it goes. But with the Percy Jackson show, like, I already know what it is. Like, I fully know everything going into it. It's this movie I don't know anything about, but I feel like I do.
That's fair.
I feel like, or the show, I feel like it's going to be very predictable. And that's like the young adult, like, fiction novel genre that's what that is. So.
Yeah. I thought the trailer was cool.
Yeah.
I do see where you're coming from, and I agree. I really like the mysticism of it all, and like seeing like the Monkey King in a few shots. I thought that was a cool way to bring in their mythology into the show. I like the beginning of it, just following the main kid until the friend that wasn't of this world started to talk, because his acting wasn't that great. I'm from another world.
Yeah,
but I thought it was cool just seeing that, like, oh, it's this like high school show, like struggling to fit in, and then it's actually about superheroes.
Sky high.
You know what? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. This movie has existed in many different forms, and this is just the newest one with Michelle Yeoh and Ke Huy Quan and Stephanie Sue.
That's
and
fair.
So many others.
I thought the trailer was interesting.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jamie
cool.
Lee Curtis is in here.
Funny you should no.
Okay.
That show is going to come out May 24th, so just a little over a month away.
Gotcha.
Next up,
I might try it out. We'll see what happens. Is it on Disney Plus?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Next up, we have another scary movie.
Yeah.
Not the one we're talking about today, but it is a sequel to a, I think, decade-old franchise now, and that is Insidious: The Red Door.
Yes.
This we have
I've not seen
neither
Insidious.
neither of us have seen any of the Insidious movies.
I saw a horror vibe. I saw Patrick Wilson, and I was like, "Oh, a new Conjuring."
Yeah, and then I looked at it, I was like, no.
It was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." I like the Conjuring films a lot. I don't think a lot of people super love them. I don't think a lot of people really like the third one, especially.
I think people love The Conjuring, or at least this is the first two.
But I love The Conjuring, and I've not seen Insidious, but now I want to watch it because I didn't know Patrick Wilson was in that one.
He's in the first two.
I don't know why he's so typecast and like. I don't get that, but he does a good job.
And he's directing this one. It'll be his first directorial debut.
It's exciting.
Yeah. What do you think of the trailer, though?
Yeah, and also for clarification, this trailer I don't believe is online yet. It might be, actually.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we saw this one in theaters before we saw Evil Dead Rise the other day, which is why we're bringing it up. But anyways,
yeah, the trailer it didn't really do a whole lot for me. Honestly, I kind of forget a lot of it.
Well, that's kind of what happens with movies theater trailers as well.
Yeah,
there's so many different like things going on that you're paying attention to.
I am kind of watching it on mute right now, and
yeah,
I don't remember any of this
going on.
Ty Simpkins.
Okay,
I forgot that he was in this. And then Rose Byrne is his wife. It looks like they're going to a school. They're dropping off his things.
Okay.
He's talking. Oh, he's taking a picture now.
You think we can get flagged for this?
No, because I'm just describing it. He's doing a painting.
This is fair use.
Oh wait, no. Now I remember. He was like, "Oh, I fell into a coma, but I don't remember any of it." I thought that was a cool angle. It's like he doesn't remember any of it, but now it's coming to light.
Have you seen the Insidious movies?
No, I have not.
Okay. Yeah, me neither.
I know it's about a kid who gets possessed. I think.
That's.
And then the
you know
second
how
one
little
is like
that
their new
narrows it
baby
down.
gets possessed.
You know how little that narrows it down. I don't know. It looks okay. I like Patrick Wilson and I like horror movies a little bit, depending on the horror movie.
Okay.
Like, there's certain one like Saw sucks, but I love them.
I still can't believe you watched all of them.
Yeah, I did, and Spiral, which was also like.
And that was in your top 10.
Spiral is a really good film, like a great detective film, but a really bad Saw movie.
See, I've heard the opposite.
It's not a good
I've
Saw
heard it's
film.
an awful movie.
Like, because it's a standalone thing, which is good.
Yeah.
Like, it's good. That is standalone, and it just kind of played. It had the gear of the other movies, but it was just using it in its own way without connection to any of the other jigsaws or any of the other things. It was just like here's a unique situation, and it was pretty good. The Saw traps were kind of lackluster.
Yeah. But Chris
Rock did a really good job,
and Samuel L. Jackson as his dad.
Yeah, and he did a good job too.
Oh.
It was a good movie. It's a good movie. The Saw movies, the rest of them, not very good, but I love them still. I don't know. I have a weird connection to them.
Yeah. And we'll get into that later.
We will.
But before that, next up, we have another franchise movie. It's the last of a trilogy.
Bet. Oh, trilogy? Okay, I'm thinking the wrong one then.
No, yeah, you are.
It's like trilogy. I think there's 9 of them.
Whoa, don't bury the lead.
Okay.
And this is with Denzel Washington.
Oh, okay.
The Equalizer 3. Mm-hmm. Have you seen the other two Equalizers?
I remember seeing ads for them when I was a kid.
I do too. I remember the only thing I've seen from the Equalizers, besides the trailers, is the one scene in the like apartment building where he kills someone with a credit card. And I remember thinking, that was cool.
Yeah.
And then in this trailer is like him with like doing a bunch of cool kills. It's that cliche, like I'm retired.
Right.
And now,
like, now
I'm being pulled out of retirement.
Exactly.
And I don't know. I think John Wick has just spoiled me.
Yeah, they set the bar way too high there.
Yeah, with just like creative action and creative kills and stuff. And it's like they're doing the same thing, but it's not John Wick. Like, I just want Denzel to be like, yeah,
I need a gun.
Denzel's always charming. I love Denzel, so I'm sure he'll be great in this. As it went on, I appreciate the trailer more, but for me, it felt like it had a slow start. So I'm not sure. I'll probably watch it. I don't know if I'll watch the other two first.
Fair enough. I think I agree, but also, well, I don't have a good like gauge on action movies and whatnot. John Wick is really good, but I don't know if I think right now in the culture of action movies, John Wick has set the bar. I think there's a very, like, especially with just Keanu Reeves and that kind of climate surrounding those movies right now, that people are like, that is what you need to aim for when making an action movie.
Which I do disagree with.
But that being said, I haven't seen the other Equalizer, so I don't know if like so many different action movies have a lot of different things they can rely on.
Yeah,
like,
it's one of those like special set of skills movies, as far as I know, from that one credit card kill scene, and from what I saw in the trailer. But it does feel like it is trying to also reach the kind of action that John Wick is doing, which is why I compared it. But sorry, continue.
No. I do have a segue for the next one. That's not like it's not like a clever segue. It's just something I wanted to point out, a similarity between this trailer and the next one.
Okay.
So do you have anything else to say about the Equalizer?
Yeah, the ending of the trailer was pretty cool. It felt a little ridiculous when he just shoved the gun into the guy's face and it went completely through. And then
I thought he was going to shoot through it.
Well, he
does he?
He does, but they don't show it.
Oh, okay.
You gotta watch the movie to see that one.
Okay, I gotta see.
But yeah, that felt a little ridiculous, but it was still entertaining, and that's all I want. Just be entertained.
Fair enough. If I had a nickel today for every time I watched a trailer with a guy locked in a room with a bunch of other guys with guns that wanted to kill him, and that guy at the table got up and killed the rest of the people in that room with the guns that they were being aimed at, I would have 2 nickels. Because in the next trailer... Is it Fast X? Or I don't know if I didn't look at the list. Are we doing Fast X next?
We are doing Fast X.
Fast X. It does the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Literally, like almost, or it's not like the same exact scene, but it's the same setup, and that's the segue for Fast X. What did you think of this trailer, Anthony?
Family is finally back.
Yeah.
I'm about to be reunited with mi familia.
Okay. Yeah.
Vin Diesel is a national treasure. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Vin Diesel, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the show. My mom is a very big fan. And she would, that would just be awesome. Just a little shout out for the show and my mom.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Shout out Austin's mom.
Thank you. So I've yet to do my little stunt where I watch all of the films back to back.
You're not going to do it before this movie.
I'm not before this movie, but I'll do it someday. But I will, like someday. You're gonna.
By the time you do it, you'll have like 100 movies to have to go through.
That's the price I pay.
Although next year is supposed to be the last installment.
I thought this was the last one.
No.
What is wrong with people? Okay.
When 7 came out, they announced 8 and 9 are the last ones, and they came out. They're like 9 and 10, and now they're like 10 and 11.
I can't be shocked. But I've not seen the other movies, so I don't have much to say besides family is what really matters, and also cars with guns on them.
I want to say, shout out. I'm looking at the trailer on YouTube right now.
Okay.
Shout out to Doom Studios who left the comment. Can't wait to see Letty scream "dumb" when he dies for the 7th time and somehow survives.
Yeah. No,
This
it's gonna be a good time.
This trailer was dumb. I know I didn't really give my piece on it. I just said, all right, thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next week we're gonna.
This is, I guess it's classic Fast and Furious just being dumb, but it's like, come on, please, have one brain cell.
If your classic is, well, it is like The Walking Dead of movies.
Yeah, they blew up the Vatican.
I will say that bomb explosion was legit. I didn't expect. I was waiting for that, and
no, they always tear up a city in all of these.
I'm glad they actually showed the explosion.
They kill so many people, innocent people.
Well, yeah, but at least it's not Dom's family, so that's all that matters.
It's not his family, so it's okay.
I don't really have much to say about it. There's cars, there's guns, there's
John Cena takes a child into a battlefield.
Exactly, and he's like, is the child's name Cars? What did he say?
Is it Carl? I don't know.
Is it Carl?
If
it was Cars, I was gonna vomit.
I am so I keep thinking it's either Dom's son or Paul Walker's son, because I know Paul Walker had a son, and I thought Dom adopted him or something. But now it's like, no, it is Dom's son. But then who did he have a son with? I don't know. These movies are so confusing.
I'll be able to tell you when I go and watch all of them back to back live on this podcast.
Of course.
On the streaming platform, rather.
This is just gonna be so
exciting.
Oh my god! I never finished the trailer. I'm just watching the end of it right now.
Yeah.
What?
What?
Oh, and he's driving down a dam.
Yeah.
Driving past an explosion. Okay.
Oh, him going down the ramp. Yeah. He played the stuntmen and directors and everything that went into playing in this film.
He does his own stunts. That's a full explosion. He's driving.
Well, they played GTA 5 once. And
they
were
put
like,
on the cheats.
Oh my god.
This is
awesome.
what we've been missing.
That's the state of Fast and Furious.
Do you know what the
now.
first one's about?
Yeah, it's like a car race.
Yeah, literally, it's about stealing DVDs, and it's Point Break, but with cars. And then now it's let's go to space.
Yeah,
and blow up the Vatican.
Listen, you gotta
and drive down a dam, outrunning an explosion.
Fast and Furious is the movie example of power creep, and that's what Fast and Furious exists for. And
that's fair.
We have to accept that.
This movie, I just think it's gonna go by too fast. Speaking of fast,
okay,
let's talk about our last trailer of the day, and that is, of course, The Flash.
Yeah. DC's not doing too well right now. They got some mommy and daddy issues they're working through.
Yeah.
And so this movie it also has a fair handful of issues that it's working through. And I'm gonna come out and say it. Doesn't look good.
I don't know why people are loving these trailers. Like, are we crazy?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
But,
I know, like, we have been outspoken, I guess more me, about the whole Ezra situation. And even putting that aside, this trailer does not look good.
Like,
they're just pandering to the 89 Batman audience. When he said, "Do you want to get nuts?" Like, that was such a bad shot, but also just moment. And it's like, why are you doing this?
Whenever the trailer started, you spend the first 45 seconds on Batman.
Yeah,
and it's like
they want you to forget that Ezra's in this.
Yeah, well, it's like a Captain America 3 situation where it's called The Flash, but it's barely about the Flash. Well, I feel like it'll be about the Flash because it's all the time travel, bring your parent back. But that being said, the story is going to be fairly predictable. I think.
Yeah. It was weird because watching the trailer, there was points, just very small specific points where I was like, this feels interesting. But it was the idea of it was interesting.
Right.
But then the execution, just based on the trailer, it was not working for me.
Yeah. I'm not excited. I never really have been for DC projects.
Do you think you'll watch this?
No. If I have a choice, no.
I don't think I will either. So, don't look out for our review of it, I guess. Yeah, this just does not look great. But James Gunn is saying it's the best superhero movie he's ever seen.
That's called advertising.
Yeah.
Do you know what comes out next week, though? I mean, 2 weeks from now, probably. Maybe 3. I don't actually know.
2 weeks.
It's like May.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It'll be our season 4 finale.
It's another James Gunn classic. Guardians 3.
Yeah.
I don't have words anymore. Superhero movies, they're like I want to like them, but there's not much to do anymore. And so
I think there is stuff to do. They're just not doing it.
Is there though? Like Eternals and Shang-Chi was good, but it didn't fully blow up, and Moon Knight was pretty good, but nobody really liked that. Even when they try to introduce new characters and play with original ideas, it's just nothing hits anymore. I think there's a certain level of what's the word when
fatigue.
When you get used to something and it's the taste of something is numb to you. There's a certain word that I think I'm looking for that I can't remember.
Yeah. Normalization. I don't know.
I'm gonna write that down in my phone so I can look it up later and feel validation for whatever I'm talking about right now.
Well, while you do that, those are our trailers. By the way, The Flash comes out sometime in June. I don't have the date up. Let me Let me do that. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, I also did not do Fast X. Fast X comes out May 19th. And do you want to review that?
Fast X?
Yeah.
No, I gotta watch the other ones first.
That's fair. And The Flash comes out June 16th. Do not be on the lookout for our review. Oh, by the way, that shot of Supergirl just like hitting Zod with the pole.
Boing.
And yeah, the boing. And then very weird editing in this trailer. And like when Ezra is like getting hit with the lightning.
Yeah.
And then the weird sound. Yeah.
It was weird.
It's like, why put that in? But anyway,
It's
let's
the best
move on
superhero movie ever
to
made.
our main topic of the show. And that is Evil Dead Rise.
All right, let's come out the gates. I've not seen the Evil Dead films.
I have not either.
So
we were going to, and then we decided no.
What we're going to tell you guys today is if this movie, you can watch it standalone without watching the other Evil Dead films. Do we want to give the verdict now?
Yes.
Is that the verdict or the answer to my question?
Both.
I agree.
I believe you can definitely watch this without watching any of the others.
Yeah, I was under the impression it was going to be connected, but it's just a standalone.
It's not
the world of kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like it might be, but just we haven't picked up on a lot of the things. But yeah, the only like carryover really is some of the shots, like setups, especially with the evil going into people.
Well,
and the Necronomicon book.
Yeah, the only experience I have of Evil Dead is watching a streamer play the game that came out recently of it.
Oh, just the game?
That's all I know of it. And like distant screenshots of like just the chainsaw hand and whatnot.
I do know more because when I was younger, and I always heard Evil Dead is one of the scariest movies ever made.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like rated NC-17 because of how graphic and scary it is. And I wanted to watch it, but I was scared too. So I looked up like everything that happens to see if I could. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
And so I do know what happens in at least the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't seen it, so I don't fully know, and that was years ago too.
Yeah.
But let's focus on this movie.
Yes.
Like we said, not really connected to the originals. It follows a family in do they say what city they're in?
Decrepit City number 17.
Just a normal family. I don't even think in a decrepit city, but living in a
they're
decrepit apartment.
Hotel, or apartment.
And just this super normal family who gets cursed by the Deadites, I believe is what they're called. And they have to fight the evil before it takes them all.
Right.
Specifically their mom. The mom is like the main monster in this.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just go into general thoughts. Austin, how did you feel about this movie?
Unfortunately, this movie is just another okay. It's like in the fullest extent of the phrase, it is a horror movie. Like the beats are fairly predictable, the goriness is there, and the like pieces of the puzzle are just kind of laid out for you in order. And so there's not
Are you talking about some of the foreshadowing at the beginning? Yeah.
There's not like a lot of engaging like events to watch as you like watch through the movie. It's mostly just like okay, well this is gonna happen next, and okay, well that doesn't matter then, and that was pretty scary. Oh, that's pretty nasty.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have like any highs or any lows watching this movie. It was just like, okay, that was all right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't regret watching it, but also at the same time, now I'm curious how the other Evil Deads are, because obviously, like this is. Like we said, you do not need to watch the other Evil Deads. It's supposed to be like a standalone horror movie that, like, not really a reimagining, but it's just set in the world, I think, of a completely different
believe
situation.
It is set after the events of Evil Dead.
Mm-hmm. So generally, it wasn't bad, but it also wasn't super good.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to watch another horror movie, I would watch all 9 Saws again. That's not true. I would probably if I had to watch that or Saw, I'd watch Saw. Because Saw is fun.
I disagree with you partially, and I agree with you partially.
Ooh,
I do.
ambiguous.
I believe this film, I think I liked it more than you.
Probably.
One of the things I really liked about it was the family, especially at the
Did
beginning.
you?
Well, they just feel like a real family. They like it's a struggling mom who is like loving to her kids, and then there's the kids where one of them is this moody teen. There's the young one, stuff like that, and they they behave like a believable family dynamic, and so I appreciate that. And when it gets into the scares, it doesn't let up, and I appreciate that. There are times where it is horrific. There are times where it can be tense. It's gory. It's scary. But I think where it falls, I don't want to say apart, but doesn't reach as high as it could go, is with some more characterization. And when it does get into the scares, it's more surface level, where there is a real opportunity to explore this like psychological horror of this family is watching their mom not only not like die, but try to kill them, and what happens then, because that is kind of the true horror of this movie, is watching this family tear each other apart, where they take the easy route in a lot of cases, where it's like, ooh, let's see someone kill another person in like the most horrific way possible. And while it is effective, the scares are effective, it could have went above and beyond to be something greater.
I fully agree with that. I think, and we're not going to do spoilers till the spoiler section, but what I'm about to say may be interpreted as one, is that I wish they played with that concept, or I wish they played with the concept of how far gone is the mom, like, because they try and use it as a device a few times, but like in the form of the demon trying to fool one of the family members. But it'd be interesting if it wasn't, if that was actually convincing.
I really like the beginning when the demon hasn't fully taken over yet. Because you see the struggle that I forget the actor's name, but she did a really good job of like showing this demon take over her, and like using her last moments to be like, please don't let it take me. And it's such a great dichotomy, but they don't play with it as much as I would like.
Exactly. Once that ends, that's pretty much it, and that was pretty disappointing, because I do agree, that's a good point. Like, there's a lot of depth that you could have explored there with the character. Like, it's literally their mom like trying to murder them over and over again and losing her mind, and you're watching her die like a slow, painful death in this demon thing, and it's like they just kind of turn into normal horror movie protagonists trying to survive. And I agree. In that regard, I think that's where a lot of the flatness comes from this movie, where it's just like there's probably more they could do, but they just kind of don't. And
and I feel like part of it is because they wanted this to be a short movie. It's like 97 minutes.
Yeah.
And I feel like they did cut a lot for the sake of that. But there is a lot. One of the things I also really like is that they don't heavily rely on like jump scares or because that is a very cheap way to get scares. Instead, they use a very tense atmosphere and tone to achieve that, which I appreciated. For me, it was effective. Going into this movie, I was nervous because I knew what the others were like, especially the 2013 remake, and I was worried about how squeamish I'd be during this. I was completely fine the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was a little let down by that because I wanted moments where like I had to look away because it was so frightening what I was seeing on screen.
Right.
But it felt like they played it a little safe in some moments.
They hit the brakes at like, there's a few trailer moments specifically that they teased that were going to be utterly disgusting.
Yes.
One of the moments that I'll say, because it's in the trailer.
A cheese grater?
Not the cheese grater, the needle. Like
yes.
The zzz into the eyeball. And
for me, eye stuff really messes with me. And so when it got to that, I looked away for like
lobotomy.
A moment, but then they don't go all the way with it.
Yeah. She just squirms and it kicks her away. And it's like, that could have been disgusting. And
yeah.
I don't know. Well,
it also has a few pacing issues.
Oh, it does.
Towards the end, because the beginning, I think it's fine. There's been a few reviews where I say like, oh, it takes a while to get going, and for this, it doesn't take a long time to get going, but there is setup, and I appreciate the setup. They do take time with it. But it was for good reason, so you get these characters.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there's a lot of the movie, like there's a lot of portions of the movie where nothing is happening, and it's just kind of like
that is fair.
It's burning fuel to burn it, and like there is a very large portion of the movie where the mom is just staring through the peephole of a door. And that's,
I thought that was going to be a quick second.
Right.
And
I thought that was going to burst into another high intense scene, but she stays there forever, and it's like
that does go also
I get
into
why, but
the writing of this movie is very weak in some aspects. Like with that, a lot of things are very convenient. Even how it all starts. It starts with like an earthquake, and then the kids they just randomly find it.
Like, ooh.
And because they're just dumb kids, they go get it, and it's like, come on.
Yeah.
But
like things like that I try to excuse.
Yeah.
Because if I there's already so many things in this movie that just like even the door thing where it's the mom has super strength when it matters.
Yeah. But then she's stuck behind a locked door.
Yeah, like a locked wooden door that I don't know. It's very weak in that regard. There's not a lot of consistency with it.
Okay, I'll save that point for spoilers later.
Okay.
But there's just a lot of things that happen out of pure convenience for the movie, where it's like one time, fine, I'll excuse it, but then they repeatedly do it, and that's where it gets a little disappointing.
Especially with like in horror movies, a lot of them have to work that way, but they don't have to. And like this movie, like I said at the beginning, it is a horror movie. It fits the like formula that most people use to make one, but it just didn't feel unique. It felt like a gory, spooky demon movie, and
it felt unique to me in aspects, but
I'm interested to hear what those aspects are.
I was just gonna say with the family angle, but then it doesn't.
They don't really
fully
explore it.
Yeah, they do it a little bit. And for what they do, I do appreciate it. But like you said, they just don't fully explore it to its full potential. And it is a letdown. I do really appreciate, though, how this is a mid-budget movie that is in theaters.
That's fair.
It's not going to, like, change how I view the movie or, like, points-wise or anything. But it's also, like, good job. Like, you took a big risk for a horror movie with like this level of like gore and stuff that's not going to appeal to a mass audience. And it's like, keep taking those kinds of risks.
Right.
Whether it's a drama or another horror movie or a comedy, like keep doing this because this is what makes movies or like movie going alive.
For real.
Keep doing that.
Especially with like the horror genre. I feel like there's so many classics that start that way. Like I feel like I'm pretty sure Saw started
it was an indie movie
a project for like
it was a short film and then moved it over.
They developed it, and like now you have 12 films with one of them directed by Chris Rock. Upgrade?
Yeah, I
have not.
It is from the writer of Saw. It's billed as a horror movie, but I don't believe it is. It's really great. It's one of the leads of Saw, and I think the director.
Oh, okay.
Maybe one of the
that's recent.
Insidious movies, maybe one of the Saws, but it's a really great movie. It's basically if Venom was done right.
Interesting. Okay.
But that was just a side note. That was really great.
More chill action.
Evil Dead.
Yes, Evil Dead Rise.
There's also a beginning segment that has really nothing to do.
No, I wanted to talk about that, and I didn't know if I should bring it up now, but screw it. They start. Well, I'll say it. I don't really care. It's not.
They start for nostalgia purposes.
Well, they do. My main problem with that whole like scene is the device in film where it's one day earlier, and it's like because you see.
For me, when I saw the one day earlier, that was effective. I was like, oh my god, this happens all in one day. But
when I see the one day earlier, I'm like, okay, so whatever is about to happen doesn't really matter. Or it's like whatever, like I don't know how to explain it because I don't want to like confirm or deny anything in the movie, like not in our spoiler section.
I feel like you can say that about any movie though, like, oh, this doesn't really matter because of this or whatever. But
Well, it's
I feel
specifically
like
with the timeline thing. Like I feel like it could have just.
I
They
feel like
didn't.
it does matter.
I feel like we didn't need the 1 day or like early. Because if it was just a fan service kind of like here's a quick scare for you, then they could have just done that as like a thing. And then you get to the moment that it like clicks, and it's like, oh, just let it tell itself.
It should have been set up for the next movie, but we'll get into that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a weird sequence that it set the wrong tone for the movie because the beginning, especially when you bring up the title sequence, it's like this is going to be an ode to the original '80s like schlock feel, and then you go into it's like, oh no, it's like a modern day type of horror movie, like serious.
Right.
And so it was very tonally off, which is weird. How would you rate this movie?
I'd give it like a 70.
70?
Like, and that's like a Rotten Tomatoes 70, where it's not super good, or it's not really great. It's not bad, though. It doesn't deserve a bad score. I don't think it does at all. But I didn't really enjoy watching it that much. So I'm going to give it a modest 70, I'd say.
For me, I would like 70s. For me, 70s are great. I'd probably give it a 75. I did have a good time overall watching it. I did wish it went further in a lot of storytelling aspects. Yeah. But it was effective for me. Some of the scares were horrific, like I said. And it was effective for the most part. And 75.
Well, let me go ahead. Do you know it?
I don't, but I will look it up. Austin.
Okay. Yeah.
What is the Rotten Tomatoes score for Evil Dead Rise? For the entire franchise.
Critics' consensus is something I'll guess in a second. The critics' score. I don't think people are going to dislike this movie. However, I don't think it's going to be super high. I think there is going to be enough criticism of it to keep it modest.
Well, I don't want to say anything without giving anything away, but I will say this. This is a Sam Raimi movie.
It's not. He executively produced it. He didn't work on it.
He did produce it. But just keep that in mind, because if you listen to our show, you know that we are not as high on Sam Raimi as other people are.
That is fair. But I will point out that he didn't work on it, really. He just he executively produced it.
That's fair.
So, with that regard, I'm gonna say the critics gave this movie an 86%. I'm gonna say the audience, those Raimi heads out there, they gave this movie. They probably watched it and they were like, hell yeah, new Evil Dead film? Hell yeah. And they watched it, they were like, oh, I'm going to give this film an 80. Final answers.
Final answers?
Yeah.
You want to lock those in?
I'm locking both of them in.
All right. Austin.
Yeah.
For critics, you said 86%.
That sounds right.
The actual score, with 167 reviews, is 86%.
That's what I'm talking about, dude.
The consensus, offering just about everything longtime fans could hope for, while still managing to carry the franchise forward. Evil Dead Rise is all kinds of groovy.
Exactly.
Would you like to change the audience score?
No, I don't want to change the audience score. It'll probably be higher. I don't care.
Austin, the actual score, with over 1,000 verified ratings.
All Sam Raimi bot accounts.
You said 80%.
I did.
The actual score is 80%.
Are you joking? Is
No.
it 86-80? Show me. I swear to God, I didn't check. I swear to God.
You did it?
I did not look that up. Is it actually?
Yeah. I think this is the first time where we've gotten both spot on. Because there's been times where like we've gotten like one of them, or
oh my God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Austin
No,
Jameson.
absolutely. It's a pleasure. Wow.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. It only took us, like 55 episodes?
Something like that.
Like 57 if you don't count the ones y'all don't know about.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. The kind of number popped in my head.
Kingsman, what?
Oh, I just peaked. Okay.
You did.
I did.
This is your peak. It's all downhill from here.
Why on Evil Dead Rise as well?
All right. Without further ado.
Is there another consensus? Or
There
is it
isn't.
just the critics?
Only
Okay.
critics. Without further ado,
Yeah.
let's go into spoilers.
And wait, let's plug.
Wait,
we have
yeah.
like posts and things you can check
Yeah.
out. We have a little Instagram at.
That's a wrap. NCR.
We can also find that same tag at
Twitter.
and
YouTube.
and next week we haven't really set it in stone yet. We're still talking about it, but we have 2 films we're kind of debating. One is in theaters, one's not. So it's mostly out of convenience. It is finals week here on campus. And so we're both very busy. So it'll depend on that. But one of them is going to be...
Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
Or...
Peter Pan and Wendy.
And so my vote is for theater, but also we got to see how time works. So
we will figure it out.
Yeah, and you'll be able to figure out what we figure out at That's a Wrap NCR on Instagram. So
yes, once I finally update it.
Yeah.
Or Austin.
Or me. I do have access. I just choose not to. Okay, well, spoilers in
5,
4,
3,
2,
1.
What?
Wait, who said one?
No, I said one twice. I'm sorry. Or
Oh.
I said the one the second. Anyway,
one of the big things for me is that they fly past the kids
turning.
Yeah. That should have been big moments.
Yeah.
Like the first daughter, like she turns and she gets like a little bit, but then the second kid, he just gets morphed into that big one monster just immediately. You don't even know that he turned until.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, this is about a family being torn apart. Show the family being torn apart.
Right.
But it's like, no, we're just gonna be evil and rush past because it has to be 90 minutes.
I like the stupid foreshadowing with the book and the pictures, and it's like showing this super graphic, like,
oh yeah, that was
medieval
cool.
drawing,
I
and then
liked
it's
it.
like, oh god, and then cutting to the normal looking person and being like, uh-oh,
This is what's gonna happen. Yeah.
That was really interesting, but it happened so quick. Even with like, you get the picture of the girl with like the tentacles shooting, like all the leeches and stuff shooting out of her mouth.
Yeah.
And then you cut to the next scene. It's like burn on that for like a little while. Like let something happen with the mom. But you cut to that scene and immediately blood starts running down her nose, her eyes, and then it happens.
And like, I understand that they had to separate the mom from like the rest of the family, or else it'd be a very short movie.
Yes.
But like, you could have had the mom immediately like infect the daughter or something, so then you have to deal with the daughter now, and then you deal with the son.
Right.
So you're consistently upping the stakes. But instead they wasted so much time just in the apartment with the mom just like locked outside. It's like, oh help. And then later on in the movie, Auntie Beth kicks down a door.
Yeah, no, she does.
She does shoot it with a shotgun.
The stamina of this movie is on par with like anime protagonists, where it matters if they're important. If you're any of the neighbors, you get immediately murked or flung across the screen. That was
one of my other complaints, because they set up like they set up 2 neighbors, and then you see a third one just dead. I do not know.
Do you
where
remember
that guy
the third
came
neighbor?
From. No.
He goes to the door at the beginning. He tries to talk to one of the daughters.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They have the cool door hole or peephole shot that swings like to show him shutting the door.
There's been a lot of shots like that recently, like with Knock at the Cabin with the axe.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of like, well,
Tracking
I'm not a huge fan of Sam Raimi. Well, that I do like. That shot, I was like,
it was a really cool shot.
Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I just forgot about him. But you could have done so much more with those characters.
Yeah,
and then
just
you just
murdered.
kill them off immediately.
Like I feel like that was ultimately their purpose, but it didn't feel like it was going to be their purpose.
Because they're gonna die, but they kind of die off screen too.
They do.
You see it in the
It's all through a peephole,
and it's like, show it to us. You want to be Evil Dead,
right?
And it's like, okay, and yeah.
I definitely thought there was gonna be more gore across the board.
I did
which
too.
Is like almost disappointing.
And like, I get it because you have the main family and that's it. But do it with the neighbors.
I did really like the Shining like homage.
I did too.
As soon as they started
the hotel with,
like
or the
teasing
elevator,
the blood pouring in, like I know
like,
where this is
Shining.
going. And that was kind of cool. I pity the makeup department for those last couple days of shooting,
Yeah.
or whatever order they might have actually shot it in. Just everybody's so incredibly covered in blood.
That was a really cool sequence at the end, though.
It
Just in the
was.
parking garage. And
I will say, why didn't she look under the car? I don't get why it's that big of. Also, I don't like that when like the monster morphed and suddenly it doesn't have ears anymore and it can't hear you, because they were making so much noise.
they were.
and it's like, yeah, this isn't Quiet Place, dude. You would die.
It was kind of funny just seeing the mom's head.
Yeah.
Just still alive.
It.
It reminded me of Deadpool.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. The ending was probably the best part, just because it was the most like, the characters are who they're supposed to be now, and it's like, just give me the they set up the wood chipper earlier on.
I do think they also do a good job with Beth and like the potential mom.
Right.
Like, I
That's
thought
the
that was
deepest they go with.
Yeah, but they did a good job with that emotional
Mm-hmm.
story point, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, disappointing for I wouldn't say the most part, but in big aspects.
Like final consensus for me, I didn't particularly enjoy the movie. I didn't dislike it, but I would not watch it again if I was given the option.
I'd say it's worth watching. It was made for streaming, so if you want to watch on HBO Max when it goes there, go ahead. It probably helped to see on the big screen, just to like audience reactions, stuff like that, because horror movies and comedies are probably the best things to see in a theater.
True.
But that's all I really have.
That's all I got.
Go see it. What did you think about it? Leave a comment down below.
Yes, please leave a comment. Please
rate us, give
interact
us a
with
like
us.
or a dislike, whatever you'd like.
That'd be pretty cool, guys.
Yeah,
Please.
it would be. It would be.
Please
Please
talk to us.
Go watch Ted Lasso. Go watch Barry. Watch Family.
Yeah, if you got the time, then
Who doesn't have time
Vin
for
Diesel
Family?
definitely needs the money.
We're about to talk Vin Diesel Family in 2 weeks.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, I guess I'm not that excited about that, actually. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching. I mean, listening. And until next time.
That's a wrap.